welcome. You are on the program, and you're here with the Doge chairman in Congress. Tim, I know you're suffering from flu, so maybe just James, anything you'd like to ask of the Doge chairman? Anything you'd like to reveal to him? Maybe some investigation?
In a minute, but I guess Doge chairman. I mean, what? In short, why don't you think people are held accountable?
I think people are compromised. You know, you and I have talked. Well, I've followed you for years, and I admire your work. Benny and I have talked about it. I remember one time I talked about a honeypot working out of Washington D.C. and I got chastised. And what happened the very next week? They busted a prostitution ring. Benny put it on. I always remember he showed me walking out of a building, and the building explodes behind me. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. But we did that. Benny and I did that a couple times. It was like we're like Elijah, modern day prophets. And because I do think people are compromised, and it's not always sex. You know, we always say sex. A lot of it has to do with jobs. You know, these NGOs. You've got good people, I think, that probably start some of these things, and then their wives and or girlfriends draw a nice little check from some of those. And that's why nothing ever happens. Ultimately, it's the dollars. We've got groups that operate out of Washington that start off as good little groups, and then the money gets in there, and it's just too easy. And no pay.
So what's the solution? What's the solution?
Yeah, did you know that most of the honeypots is James with a fake nose?
It's not, not false. It's not incorrect.
That's most honeypots, as far as I can see in D.C. is James O'Keefe with a wig. Yeah.
Yeah.
The chatty gays, they love me.
Yeah. Well, I think, and you do a great job of disclosing that, but I think it's going to have to happen to somebody higher up, and they're going to have to be disclosed. And I don't have the ability to get to it. I have my suspects, because they always tend to vote us down the river every dadgum time, and the only reason they would do that is greed.
Well, they arrested me. I mean, I've been arrested. I've been charged. Yeah. I've been raided. So it seems like the accountability only goes one way.
100%. And Bill Clinton's a perfect example of that. You and I pulled what he did. We thumb our nose at Congress. We'd be brought in chains. Yet he's allowed to do it.
Do you think that there's an over-under that Bill Clinton will actually be in chains? I mean, they really are up against it here. Of course, there's the Bannon precedent. There's the Navarro precedent. I don't know how the Justice Department doesn't arrest him. Am I being naive?
Yes, you are. I'm sorry.
Is there anybody in D.C. that actually gives a damn, or are they just all about money and power?
Yeah, there's quite a few of us, but there's probably 25 or 30 of us. But, you know, I've watched several of my very good, close conservative friends. They get pulled in, they get put on the committee, and then all of a sudden they change their attitude. And it's very depressing to me. I'm not just telling you that because I got the flu. It's the truth.
Well, you tell them that if they don't get clean up their act, then I might have to investigate them.
I wish you would, brother.
I don't know why you'd go to D.C. if you don't care. I don't understand.
I think ultimately they care in the beginning, and then they just figure, what's the use? You're seeing everybody around them getting taken care of, going on the nice trips and putting on the cool committees, and you get invited into the White House or whoever to meet with whoever, and they just get sucked into it. And once you get your toe in it, it's over. It's not you're never coming back. They never come back.
There's no money. And there's no money in holding people accountable. That's what I hear. That's what I hear. That's what I see. There's no money and reward in arresting people. If anything, it's going to hurt you because they're going to go after you for arresting them. That's how I see it.
Yep. You got
so therefore you have to find people with the balls who are willing to be punished for holding people accountable.
That's correct. Right? I mean, look at me. I mean, I'm pretty much Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I don't get, I never get invited to play in too many reindeer games, dude. I eat a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and I sleep in my office at night. I mean, I didn't go to Washington D.C. for all that. I could give a rip about all that.
Well, you can tell them I said this. You can tell these people either members of Congress or prosecutors, and I'm going to investigate them unless they do their jobs, because they shouldn't be there in the first place unless they're willing to do their jobs, period.
I agree 100%. But there again, 12% of the population votes. Omar will get reelected. AOC will get reelected. And it'll just, we'll move on to another one. And we'll get a few in there. And we might, imagine this. Our former leadership told us at one time, I remember we were in a meeting and they said, it looked like we were going to be a 50 vote majority. 50 vote majority. And then we ended up with maybe 4 or 5 at that time. That was way back. And then, we've got new leadership. But I just think it's all just smoke and mirrors, brother. Everybody just wants to be, the old saying, I can't say it enough. They'd rather rule in hell than serve in heaven. And that's what they want. They want to tear it down. There's people looking at 4 years down the road, I could be speaker if we lose the majority, and I think the underlying, there's a lot of that going on. I think we're undermining our own party. In reality, we're undermining our country.
Well, I've got some equipment I could lend you if you ever want to expose any of them.
No.
Always on brand, James Recruiting.
Thank you, James.
I'm just being honest.
I wish I could sit here and blow sunshine up y'all's skirt and tell y'all what's going, all the good stuff, but I don't see a lot of it. We're patting ourselves on the back because we did our constitutional duty by passing these funding bills. I get that. But
well, I'll tell you who does believe in who does believe in it. These Minnesota agitators I met with, they actually believe in it. That's actually, people think they're paid. They probably are by various NGOs, but something more terrifying than that. They actually believe in what they're doing. It doesn't sound like the people you're talking about actually believe in what they're doing. And I was there in the mob, and these people are true believers, and that's a little terrifying.
Well, I think they believe it. It just to a comfortable point, but when it gets uncomfortable, they'll back off because they know they'll get reelected. 98% of them will get reelected, and and I watch people on Twitter all the time. It's very frustrating to me, Benny. And I get it. They go, we'll primary them. And I go, you don't even know what it takes. You got to have a candidate, first of all, and you better have a big checkbook because 12% of the population is going to decide it, and they know who's going to pull the button, who's going to push the buttons, and they're going to ignore the rest. And that's how they stay in power.
This is exactly what I wanted to talk with you about, Congressman, and talked with James about, because James was just nearly murdered in Minneapolis. I mean, they were throwing rock solid frozen water bottles at his car, and you get hit in the head with something like that, you could truly go to the hospital, you could be brain damaged, you could die. You get pelted with enough of those things. It's like a medieval stoning, right? And it was attempted murder on James, and it doesn't even make the headlines.
No.
Right? So here you have one of the biggest independent journalists in the world, attempted murder in the streets, ripped to shreds, mob violence, and everyone shrugs. What the hell is that?
Can I address that for 1 second?
Please.
I think what we ought to do is take a page from the civil rights movement. The black folks understood, and Martin Luther King understood, the economic condition. We need to stop supporting these media outlets that do not cover this. Everybody's mad at the Super Bowl. Well, guess what? Don't watch the Super Bowl. Anybody advertising on the Super Bowl, if they're a brand of truck, you call your local dealership. Tell them, I was getting ready to buy a truck from you, but I'm going somewhere else because you all are supporting this. That's what's got to happen. You're seeing newspapers that are owned by these corporate giants. They're losing more and more viewership or readership because of that. And I think we need to start pushing that as conservatives. Again, we don't have the guts to do it. We don't want to get our hands dirty. Preachers don't preach the gospel. Americans they want to be left alone and do their thing. And if they're going to come, we're not going to give it to them. They're going to take it from us. And we've got to start using our economic power when it comes to that stuff. I've done that many times. I walk away from some group my own jacket here, this Carhartt. I told this guy at a UT ball game came up to me. He was a big wig with, quit wearing your jacket. And he said, why is that? He said, because you don't make them in this country anymore. And he told me, in fact, they're going to start making them in Tennessee. And I said, well, I'll keep wearing them then. Because, that's what you got to do. We got to know. It's all economics. And when it's not profitable, and we got to follow the trail of this money too. You're right, these NGOs, but you've got the real believers. I get it, but you've got enough.
Well, I've got a video going out in 2 hours showing them admitting where they're getting their money from, Benny. I've got that coming out today. I've got undercover people in the mob, but I'm also telling you, and I'll report where they're getting the money from. I'm telling you, I was there. I witnessed it. These people are willing to die for their cause. I don't see conservatives willing to die for their cause. I don't see Republicans certainly don't want. I mean, they just want the money and the power. That's what you just effectively said. And by the way, thank you for your honesty. But I think self-preservation is the enemy of the American people. I think there's no accountability because there's no money in accountability. And it's the greed and it's the self-preservation that is out of control. And unless we change that about our friends, your friends, unless they get it, because these communists, they don't fear man or God. Christians claim to fear God. I don't see them acting that way. But I'm telling you, I was there.
Yeah,
I was there, and the mob surrounded me, and they will kill you if you are not one of them. And I'm not saying we should ever do that, but we do need people with the balls to be willing to I don't know, lose their money and be brave. I mean, we need people that are willing to do something. That people that love justice more than money. And that's what I was feeling when I left the area. But I'll have my report out, and I'll send you what we found, which is they're admitting what organizations they're with. There's a number of them, and some of the money comes from the government to these 501c3s. We looked up their tax returns. So the government's funding it.
100%. I don't doubt that one bit. There again, we'll dig into some of that, but I gotta have somebody with the guts to push it. I present the legislation, and I mean, I've been trying to defund the Taliban for over almost 2 years now, and it's finally coming up this month in the Senate. I passed it.
Did you say defund the Taliban?
Yeah, we're sending them $40 million a week.
This was one NGO that the protester, the agitator, said to us they get $16 million from the federal government.
Yeah,
this is what they said.
Well, that's why I wrote a letter to the president. I said, stop funding every single NGO. Shut it down. I think it's like a boat taking on water. If some people want to sink, which is what a lot of these cats want to do. Some people want to bail, but you got to plug the hole first.
So profits of corruption are immediate. Accountability or prison for bad actors takes forever. And there isn't really anybody in DC with the will to get it done. So this is our situation. This is our ugly reality. And all we can do is do the citizen journalism and hope that sunlight is the best disinfectant. That's the best thing we can do, I suppose.
I look forward to your report, and I would love to talk with you at some point. Maybe if you're in DC, we could work on.
I'm only in DC when I'm busting bad guys, but when next time I'm there, I'll reach out to you.
James, I'll set it up, bro.
There's plenty of them.
Congressman, we between James and I, you have much larger audiences and much more followers than the New York Times. You have bigger and more engaged audiences than all of corporate media, I would argue, combined. And so this is the way that you can actually effectuate change. This is like getting the will of the American people and the public on our side. So we'd love to work more with you. This is how we win.
Pray for our country. We are I think we're on the cusp. We could either turn.
My feeling was I felt we're headed towards civil war, and I hate to say that, but that's how I felt being there. But the prayer thing, I'm a Christian. I believe in God. We have to pray as if it depends on God, but we have to act like it actually depends on us. Yeah. And what I see, and this is a hard pill for many of you to swallow, so please don't kill the messenger. But what I see is these Minnesota agitators possess a greater faith in their cause than many Christians show in Christ. Because I say that because it's proved not by words, but by a readiness to act and sacrifice. And if you think for a second, I'm going to retreat, I'm fine with being my white picket fence and my portfolio. They're coming for you. It's a matter of time. So we all need to step up. All of us. The good people need to step up. That's my message. I'll stop ranting now.
No, that's no rant. That's accurate. Praying's one thing. That's what a lot of us Christians do. Oh, we pray and then we go home, and then 40% of evangelical Christians don't go to the polls.
Do you know how many people message me to be safe? I got 10,000 DMs telling me to be safe. It's out of control. Safe? If David versus Goliath was happening today, they tell David to be safe.
Yep.
We don't need safe. We need brave and truth and justice. And it just takes a few brave people that can change everything. Like this guy Kim Higbee, he's a legend already for exposing the signal chats. But yes. Benny, I gotta go. I gotta finish producing my report. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you, James. So really quickly, the preview is that you have a report with the funding. The funding is directly tied back to the federal government.
Literally them admitting in the mob. We had the undercover reporters for me in the mob, and they recorded them admitting who they're working with and the money they're getting. That'll be out at 1 o'clock.
Okay. Right. I'll make sure to get that, and I'll follow, and I'll start investigating that on my end as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you both, gentlemen. I know you both got to go. Boy, we should have a member of Congress on every one of these, because then we can just cut through the middleman. Like get right to the angry letters. Perfect. Thank you both. God bless you both. Both legends, Tim and James. See ya.